What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Evil Genius bringing to you Storytime with Dr. Evil. In this story, I'm going to tell you about how I ended up in the emergency room dealing with a crazy chick that I used to mess with. But before we go to the emergency room, I want to shout out BiblicalReaper and thank him for allowing me to post this video on his community channel called FPS Finest. So for those who are about to get to know Dr. Evil on FPS Finest, welcome, and allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Dr. Evil Genius. For those watching on the home channel, you will see the link to FPS Finest in the description, and of course BiblicalReaper is always in my description since he's one of my favorite YouTubers. A little bit about the gameplay. I was chasing the gold camo for the MR-28. So this gameplay came after Infinity Ward decided that they were going to make some improvements to objective-based game modes. So I definitely benefited greatly from the changes they made in this gameplay. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to edit out all of the boring parts without editing out any kills or deaths in the game. So, how I ended up in an emergency room fucking around with this crazy chick. Alright, a little bit of background. I'm a native New Yorker, born in Harlem. Spent most of my childhood bouncing around between Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, and the Bronx, with the most amount of time being spent in the Bronx. My mother decided when I was 17 that it was going to be a good idea to move us to, which is the equivalent of the sticks of New York State. It's about 100 miles north of New York City, and it's like you can't tell the difference between New York and Tennessee or Wyoming or Oklahoma. So for me, it was just like, damn, we're in the sticks. So I moved out there. The Bronx smell was still very much on my clothing, and of course the girls up there thought that because I was from the Bronx I must be some dangerous guy, right? He's from New York City, he's dangerous. Nah, let's fuck around with him because we like dangerous. So one of my boys that I used to work with in a mall that I got a job in, he introduces me to this girl that he used to date. He's like, oh, you'll like her, she's pretty or whatever, she's a little crazy but she's alright. I'm like, I could deal with crazy chicks right now, so alright, you know, I'll talk to her. I see her, she's hotter than he actually explained, which is kind of odd because I'm not the greatest looking guy on the planet, so I don't know how I kept running into these hot chicks or whatever. Anyway, she probably thought I was dangerous, and we hit it off, and she was a little crazy for my taste, but I was able to, you know, kind of keep her on a short leash where she didn't annoy me too much, too often. So we started to really get closer, and it looked like we were going to start officially dating, whatever that means when you're in your late teens. And we're messing around in her car one day, and she keeps a shirt on to make sure that we don't get stopped by the police or, you know, get a ticket or whatever. And so she leaves the shirt on, and she hops on my lap, and I'm trying to work my way in, and it's not working. I can't get in. So we try a little bit more, and then I noticed that there's a growing red spot on the bottom of her shirt where it was white. So it was very clear to see that something wasn't going on. You know, something wasn't right. So like, all right, what's going on here? And she's like, oh, I didn't know I was on my period. And I kind of got pissed. It's like, I mean, I didn't have that much experience, but I kind of figured, you know, chicks should not be, you know, fucking on their periods. I mean, that's the way that I was brought up. So I kind of got pissed, and she's apologizing profusely, and I'm like, whatever. She drives me home, and I go to my neighbor's house. I'm sitting there chilling with him, playing Dreamcast or whatever we were playing at the time. Could have been PlayStation. It was a long time ago. And I get a call from her, and she's like, oh, well, I just found out that I'm not on my period. You pop my cherry. Now, I know this chick is not a virgin because I knew some of the dudes that she knew. It's a small town, so eventually you're going to be fucking some girl that somebody you know has fucked already. And that was, you know, that's kind of known in that area because it's a small town. So it's like, I know this chick is not a virgin. What the fuck you mean I popped your cherry? Whatever. So I kind of forgave her. It was like, okay, she couldn't know that she was going to bleed all over herself and all over me. So like, all right, whatever. But I was still drawn to her hot ass body and her crazy ass personality. So a couple of weeks later, we're back at it again, back in the scene of, you know, back at the, you know, the scene of the original crime where the blood was spilled. And we're back in her car. You know, she picked me up from her house. We're chilling in a secluded area. And she hops on top, and again, I'm stopped at the gate like my name is not on the list to get into this club, this exclusive club, Crazy Chick Vagina Club. So she decides that she's going to take matters in her own hands, and she tries to force it. She thinks that, you know, for whatever reason, my penis is so much worth it that she's willing to hurt herself to get on it. So I felt something that wasn't quite right, and it was like, all right, something's not right. I look, and I could see blood again, but this time it's not her blood, it's mine. So I'm like, all right, this does not feel good. It didn't really hurt like you would probably think, but it was really uncomfortable. It was like a hybrid stinging, itching feeling. It was kind of dull, it was throbbing, it was terrible. So I'm like, all right, drive me home because this is not going to work. And now I got to go and patch myself up. So she goes to drive me home, and two of my boys are standing outside of one of their houses, which is like next door to mine. And they were standing there talking, and I go to get out of the car. I look into my underwear, and what used to be white tighty whities are now tighty reddies. I mean, everything is completely red, and it's like, wow. It doesn't feel like I'm bleeding this. I'm bleeding that much. Anyway, turns out I was bleeding a lot, and I was doubled over. I was scared to stand up straight when I got out of the car. So one of my friends was like, "Yo, what is wrong with you?" And I was like, my penis. I think she broke it. I think I have to go to the hospital." Both of them fall on the ground, laughing their asses off. And I go doubled over into my house. Now, at the time, my mother thought I was a virgin, so it was kind of like, I can't really just tell her that I injured myself, you know, getting, you know, trying to get it in, you know, doing what grown folks do, or in this case, what teenagers do. So I try to, like, skip past my mother. I lock myself in the bathroom. I unravel, like, a half a roll of toilet paper, and I just put it on my dick, and I'm holding it with the tissue, trying to stop the bleeding. I'm just holding it. And you can still see the blood leaking out, but it takes about a half an hour, and the blood, you know, kind of stops flowing. It's like, okay, I stopped the bleeding. You know, the site of the cut or whatever, the break, it's all right. You know, 25 minutes later, the blood is like, nah, I'm going to hop out of here again. And it was like, okay, I panicked. So I had to say, hey, Ma, I got to go to the hospital. Can you drive me to the hospital? And she was like, what's wrong? I was like, my penis won't stop bleeding. I try to stop the bleeding. Well, what happened? I dropped the box on it at work. That's the excuse that I gave her. And so she drives me to the emergency room, and the doctor asked, and my mother was sitting there, so I had to say the same thing. And he takes one look at me after I tell him that I dropped the box on it, and he's like, ma'am, can you please step outside? And then, you know, he's telling me, you know, well, put this ointment on it. No sex for 6 weeks. He knew I was freaking the fuck out. So, yeah, that's how I wound up in the emergency room fucking with this crazy-ass chick. And that was that dude getting bit by crazy-ass Riley. Anyway, thank you for watching. And thanks for the opportunity to entertain you today. This is Dr. Evil out. See you on the next video.